welcome to our 90 News. These are the headlines. President of the Republic Abdelmajid Tebboune receives Italy's Deputy PM and Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation to discuss bilateral relations and areas of cooperation. Algeria-Italy Entrepreneurship Roundtable highlights the friendly investment climate and business opportunities available for Italian investors and businessmen. A joint project in electric elevators manufacturing reflects the depth of Algeria-Italy collaboration across various industries, reinforcing the economic ties between the two nations. And the rise of the far right in France has intensified the country's political crises, exacerbating socioeconomic instability and raising concerns about the future political landscape. Welcome back, everyone, to our news. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received Italian Vice Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Antonio Tajani, along with his accompanying delegation. The meeting was attended by the Principal Private Secretary to the Presidency of the Republic, Balam Balam, the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, the Director General for Europe at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Tawfiq Jwama, and Algeria's Ambassador to Rome, Mohammed Khalifi. Following his meeting with the President of the Republic, the Italian PM and the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation reaffirmed the depth of bilateral relations and strong commitments to further enhancing them. Let's have a listen to the Deputy Prime Minister.
Sono veramente contento di essere qui ad Algeri.
I'm very pleased to be here in Algeria for the first time since I took office. I thank President Abdelmajid Tebboune for his warm welcome. The meeting we have just concluded and the meeting I had this morning with the Foreign Affairs Minister Attaf confirms the strong bilateral relation. Our relation is very strong. It extends from political and economic cooperation to the cultural field. On one hand, I intend to strengthen the Italian presence in supporting cultural cooperation and also supporting Italian language courses. We want to have an increasing number of Algerian students in our university. We've also discussed on combating human trafficking. We want to enhance cooperation in this field with a friendly country like Algeria. We've also decided to establish a cooperation mechanism and constant consultation between the General Secretary of the Italian Foreign Affairs Ministry and the General Secretary of the Algerian Foreign Affairs Ministry and that of Tunisia. We need to set a date for a meeting between our two governments, and we've stated that Italy will suggest a meeting of the G5+5. Clearly, economic cooperation between our two countries is going in the right direction, especially with regard to energy. We have an energy partnership that represents a model for cooperation between the two shores of the Mediterranean. We are working in the field of renewable energies, but we also thought to extend our cooperation into other fields such as food production and other production sectors, as the Italian experience and expertise can allow the accomplishment of new investments in Algeria. We are the fourth worldwide trade power and the second industrial power in Europe. Therefore, we want to invest all this power to enhance cooperation with a friendly country. Today's business forum will be an opportunity to demonstrate our ability to work together despite the good results achieved. We are hoping to achieve more, especially that we have a common vision between Algeria and Italy.
Un gran merci a vous tous, grazie mille a tutti quanti.
The Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, received the Italian Vice Prime Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs on Monday during his official visit to Algeria. The two officials led an expanded working session joined by senior officials from both countries. Discussions focused on the progress of Algerian-Italian cooperation across political, economic and humanitarian dimensions. Both ministers praised the dynamic nature of their bilateral relations, emphasizing the importance of continued high-level visits and consultations. The meeting also addressed regional and international developments, in particular in the Mediterranean, the Sahel and the Middle East, as both sides exchange views on pressing geopolitical issues. Italy's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Antonio Tajani, held talks today with the Minister of State, Minister of Energy, Mines and Renewable Energies, Mohamed Aqab. The discussions reaffirmed the strategic nature of the partnership between the two countries, built on historical ties and mutual trust. During the Algeria-Italy Entrepreneurship Roundtable, the significant opportunities Algeria offers to Italian investors were highlighted, along with measures taken to facilitate and attract foreign investment. The meeting reflects a strong commitment to enhancing cooperation and partnerships across various sectors, especially as Algeria positions itself as an investment hub and a bridge between Africa and Europe. Italian Deputy PM and the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation laid a wreath at the Martyrs' Shrine in Algeria, honoring the Shuhada of the Liberation Revolution during his visit to the country. Tasked by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, National Community Award and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, arrived in Cairo on Monday evening to represent Algeria at the extraordinary session of the Arab League Council at the summit level. The emergency summit set for March 4th will focus on developments related to the Palestinian cause and existential threats and risks in the context of post-Gaza aggression arrangements. Cooperation with the Italian-Algerian partnership in the elevator industry led by Siam and Suriname has boosted local production and strengthened economic cooperation between the two countries. Najah Tayyar explains.
In realization of the Italian-Algerian cooperation in elevator industry, Siam company in Tlemcen comes to undertake this mission.
The company was able to build the model delivered by the Italian company, which allowed it to produce these elevators. The Algerian company Suriname contributes with 70% and the Italian company with 30%. Suriname builds the cabinets while the Italian company is responsible for technology and electronic components transfer.
Transfert technologique et les composants électroniques.
This Italian-Algerian partnership is definitely paving the way for a promising future in electric elevator manufacturing, installation and maintenance. The Algerian company Siam is a result of cooperation between Suriname company for the metaplastic studies and the Italian company Siam Ascenseurs et Servizi SRL. Its production capacity in first year reached 180 elevator, and since the Algerian company started making original products, it reached 1,000 elevator per year. This economic project is one of several others, which is a testimony to the strong cooperation between Algeria and Italy.
PM Nadil Arbawi held a phone conversation on Monday with his Mauritanian counterpart Mukhtar Wuldajai, during which they exchanged Ramadan greetings and expressed satisfaction with the level of cooperation between their countries, noting its steady progress aligned with the shared vision of President Abdelmajid Tebboune and Mauritanian President Mohamed Ould Sheikh Al Ghazmani. The two officials reviewed advancements in joint projects and cooperation programs, in particular infrastructure and regional integration aimed at fostering sustainable development. Discussions also covered current regional developments and key international issues, with the Palestinian cause at the forefront. The President of the Constitutional Court received a delegation of senior officials and trainees from the National Defense College in Abuja, Nigeria, and this in the presence of several members and officials of the court. The visit, part of a week-long study tour to Algeria, included extensive briefings on the court's jurisdiction, organization, functions and role in establishing constitutional justice in the country. The delegation has also toured various facilities of the Constitutional Court. In other news, the expanding influence of the far right in France has escalated the country's political crisis, increasing socioeconomic instability and raising concerns over its future governance. Najah Tayyar has the details.
France is struggling to contain the rise of the far right as the fractures within its government weaken the executive and fueled an increasingly unstable political climate. These tensions, far from being mere disagreements, are reflected in contradictory statements that expose the divisions at the heart of the government. It's a question of whether you'd agree to sit around the table with someone who's lied to you 10 times and who'd promise send you something that's not going to happen right away. France's Minister of Interior, who comes from the ranks of the far right, seems to blur the boundaries of his own role. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister François Bayrou, relegated to a secondary role and unable to control his government, chooses to follow this right-wing drift rather than confront it. France suffers a further economic setback with the downgrading of its outlook to negative by the agency S&P Global due to the rise in public debt. This downgrade, the third in the space of a few months, illustrates the political instability and its impact on the national economy. They also think that we have a very big budget problem and want to find another 10 billion in savings. The Fifth Republic continues to weaken and appears to be gradually collapsing as the chances of recovery are dwindling, leaving the country with an uncertain future.
News on the latest colony in Africa. Resistance grows and diplomatic support for the Sahrawi cause expands. The Makhzen tightens its repressions. Sahrawi journalist Bahi Breika, the latest victim, was abducted and brutally tortured, an escalation that demands urgent international action. Milisalila Balaman.
The Makhzen regime is wavering under the mountain blows against its illegal occupation of Western Sahara. On the ground, it faces unwavering resistance. On the diplomatic front, the Sahrawi cause continues to gain momentum, with several nations, particularly in Latin America, reaffirming their support, further isolating Rabat. Unable to stem this tide, the Makhzen resorts to its only known tactic, ruthless repression. Its latest victim is Sahrawi journalist Bahi Breika, abducted this week by Moroccan occupation forces and subjected to unspeakable torture.
I endured the worst forms of torture and humiliation. They tore my clothes and filmed me completely naked. Then they forced me to say things that go against my values and upbringing.
This brutal crackdown once again exposes the cowardice of the Makhzen, which preys on the most vulnerable to mask its failures. The international community must step up, protect journalists, and push for a swift and lasting solution to this conflict.
In Biskra, the Algerian Red Crescent launched a humanitarian caravan providing food, blankets and medical care to families in need. This initiative, taking place throughout the blessed month, reflects a strong commitment to solidarity and aid. More details with Min Salila Balaman.
A caravan from the Algerian Red Crescent set off from the organization's headquarters in Biskra, heading towards remote areas of the city, particularly Werlal and Serg, the latter being the first step, serving as both a humanitarian and medical aid station. Along with distributing food supplies and blankets, medical consultations were provided for children and the elderly at the newly established center in Serg.
As part of our cooperation with the National Red Crescent and in collaboration with our PSB, a mobile medical team is here in the scattered areas of Sirk in Urlal. We took this opportunity to examine patients who don't have access to urban health care, especially sick children. We found several suffering from the chronic illnesses like epilepsy.
عندي 3 مرضى زوج عندي 8
I have 8 children, 3 of whom are ill. I work as a day laborer, and I sincerely thank the organizers for the humanitarian aid. At the same time, I hope the authorities will provide more support.
The caravan then moved on to several remote homes, delivering food and essential supplies to families in need.
32 سنة
I am 32 years old and I work as a day laborer. I have 2 children and I am deeply moved by this humanitarian aid.
عجبني بصح ما لقيت به معبر والله فرحان والله
أول عملية لشتاء دافئ.
We launched an initial operation to help families stay warm this winter. We are distributing mattresses, blankets and food packages. In the second phase, every 10 days throughout the blessed month, we will continue delivering food packages to impoverished and remote areas such as Mkhadma, Umash and Said, supporting many families.
The Biskra Red Crescent has planned additional aid initiatives throughout the blessed month, reinforcing solidarity and mutual support among communities.
The news, the Minister of Communication, Mohamed Mizian, highlighted the media's role in driving national development, calling on journalists to promote investment opportunities. Speaking at a training session for economic reporters, he stressed the need for accurate information and specialized journalism to support Algeria's investment strategy. The program, organized by the Investment Promotion Agency, aims to equip journalists with the knowledge to cover business regulations effectively. That was it for today's news. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.